and Brother Tom and Brother Estevez,
Yeah.
Hello, my
Hi
dear
everyone.
family.
Brother Alex, and
Miss you so much.
Brother Richie.
Thank you.
Hello,
Well,
hello.
Me too.
see you all again. Oh, it's been too long.
Yeah, how you doing?
We're doing much better, thank you.
Good.
That's good to hear.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
indeed.
apologize for not being connected very much the last few weeks. As you know, we've been pretty occupied.
Mhm.
No need to apologize. Our condolences and our love and light is sent to you all.
Thank you.
you.
We've felt that
Absolutely.
all along, and we appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yep.
very much. Very much so.
Absolutely. I second that from Sister Danche.
So
What
I
have you,
spoke in the name to all of us.
Yeah.
what have you all been up to these last few weeks? We've been kind of disconnected.
Oh, it's been busy. It's been busy getting in tune more and more. Very in tune. For me, as myself, because I've been doing the contemplation meditation every single day, and it's been going on for 2 months now. And what I notice is that my senses have been heightened. I smell the plants, from the flowers to the grass to the pollen to everything. It's kind of interesting, and I love it. So it's been that, and a lot of connection, with the guardian angels, with the spirits, Elohim, dear mother, dear father, and us, and Yeshua. So that's what's been happening to me, just being more connected, just being more connected.
That's awesome.
Awesome. And you're
Yeah.
getting ready to move too, right?
Oh yeah,
A lot
absolutely.
packing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're closing July 1st.
Oh.
So and it's a nice change. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful change, and that's taken a lot. It's a lot of work in between. So it's been busy. I've been busy. So
When do you
Busy.
expect to be fully moved into your new home?
I fully expect to be moved in by I think around the time of my birthday. My birthday is July 12th.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Hey.
So it's
Good.
around that time
Birthday
or
present.
later.
And
Absolutely.
congratulations on getting your
Thank you.
mortgage before the mortgage rates went up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, actually, I was asking, Elohim, when's the time for me to do that? So, it was like, not yet. I said, okay. So I was telling my wife, not yet. And she was like, well, what about now? I said, nope, not yet. Oh, now? Nope, not yet. So I kept tuning in and asking Elohim, when? He said, not yet. I said, okay. So I waited, and I waited for like 3 weeks. And then the word came in from divine. Okay, now's the time. I said, all right, let's do it now. And I did it at the right time. And she was like,
Perfect.
how do you know this? I was like, well, I got connections.
I got connections in high places.
Exactly.
I was just
Yeah,
reading
so-
an article the other day, excuse me, said that because of the rise in interest rates, that someone who was going to purchase $1 million home
Mhm.
when the interest rates were at their lowest, that same home will now cost twice as much, or they can buy half as much home. They get a $500,000 home. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
good timing.
Yeah.
How about everybody
Yeah.
else? What's been going on?
Well, can I start?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Well, as the last sentence of Brother Reggie, I will start from that. Well, I am more and more sure in our connections with the high that it is exactly on time, including my clients, including the departure of Shaina. They are telling me, the guardian angels of my clients, of those who I protect, especially protect, they are always telling me five minutes ahead. And also for everything I ask is up to date. They don't tell me 2 weeks before. They don't tell me 2 days before. They just tell me to the exact timing. Okay, do it now. Today is the day. So it's amazing. We always get the answers the exact same day. So this is what I'm telling my clients more and more. Whatever you ask from Elohim with pure heart and with humility, and it is in the plan of Elohim, they will tell you when to do it, but on that exact day. Do not expect it before that date. We are not fortune tellers, but on that day, you will be informed. And to me, this is happening every single day, that I get such beautiful reminders that we are heard, especially we who are on the path to and are children of light and have more higher offices. We the keys are opening every single day. I finished my book on Reiki, what is energy healing and what is not, what is from the light and what is from the dark. So the people can actually distinct the healing from light and the healing from the darkness. And I started posting on my page in Macedonian language more and more with subtle nudges about Elohim and Celestine light and the light. So I'm putting that in the air. And after we come back from our holiday and seminar, I tend to look for publishing house or do it myself. We will see. And now I'm fully concentrate on transliterating the oracles. So I've been doing this all day and it's beautiful. And I have a couple of questions at the end of this our meeting, and I have an idea plus I will ask at the end of the meeting. So
All right.
everything is beautiful. I'm preparing for the baptism of Alex. I have translated everything, memorized it. It is all with Elohim, spoken with the Spirit. I understand the oracles more. It's amazing. It really is. So
Because you're doing the translation and having to get so intimate with the oracles, I think there's probably never going to be anybody in our generation that knows more about the oracles than you do.
Right, right. You have a special position in more ways than one. Absolutely.
And speaking of baptisms, I apologize to Brother Estebus and Brother Tom, who were going to have their proxy baptism today. We weren't quite in the space to be able to do that, and the pool is still too cold. We've had a very cold spring in early summer, but we certainly will take care of that in July, probably like mid-July, around the July 10th or somewhere around that area. So Brother Tom and Brother Estebus, you want to share what's been going on in your lives? Either one?
There's nothing really of note. I'm kind of sick today, so I'm just here to spectate everyone.
Okay. How about you, Brother
Hope you
Estebus?
feel better soon.
Yeah, get better.
Well, actually, yesterday was my birthday, so I
Oh.
embraced this. I
Happy
hit it pretty
birthday.
hard.
Happy birthday.
And,
So you're 69 years old today? Oh, I mean, you have that aura, but okay. How old are you, Brother Estebus? 22?
Oh, actually, today I was fully 2022.
22. That's a
Yes.
great year.
22.
Yes,
Our number.
So what was the date yesterday?
and well, actually, I hit it pretty hard yesterday, and I embraced it fully in my own ways. Although it was not very, full of parties and go to costly restaurants, but I took a walk with my friend to the hill and had the animals and plants and trees there, and it was wonderful because I did not embrace my birthday like everyone else. They usually choose to go to a restaurant and have a party and drink some wine, but I chose to use my own birthday. It's my own special day in the year to help the others and do more good things.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's all I want to share this week.
Thank you, Brother Estes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Special.
Dansha, does Alex want to share anything, or you want to share anything for him? Or is he incorporated in you?
Well, I don't know. What did we do? He traveled a lot with our new motorbike because he loves it so much and he loves the mountain. And now he has a vehicle to go even higher up in the mountains. He loves waterfalls. He took me to a place yesterday. We were on a small picnic with a waterfall. I'm more of a summer person with a sea and beaches, but and water. But he's more with mountains, and he just enjoys there. And every single weekend he goes somewhere else. He makes videos, and I don't know if he got something else this week, but he's preparing himself for the baptism too. We are learning a lot in my school. He's good student of mine. So
Excellent.
Well,
I must say this to him.
you definitely have to come visit us in Oregon, where we have lots and lots of mountains and lots of waterfalls.
Yeah.
And the ocean.
And the ocean too.
So they come-
We have everything.
You have ocean.
Sisters Andy, how are you doing in Nigeria? You're on mute still, so I see you, but I don't hear you.
She may not be able
Okay.
to.
How about, I guess that's everybody.
Yeah.
And just to say that Sister Jeanette's flight was getting late, so she will miss because of her flight.
Okay.
Oh,
And also Sister Erica took her husband out for Father's Day, so she just let
Oh, yes.
Right.
know.
that's
So she said she won't be able to make it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the
Yeah.
fathers.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Happy Father's Day.
Veronica.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started then. And Brother Reggie, would you be so kind to lead us in the thing you lead us in so well?
Sure. With
Okay, let's take our claw and our jaw and spin them forward in a perfect sync and resonance together. Kaja, forward. Spin them backwards. Horizontal clockwise. Counterclockwise. Vertical clockwise. Oops, yeah, clockwise, sorry. And vertical counterclockwise. Kaja, perfect sync and harmony. Let's add the Z. Z Kaja, spin them forward. Backwards. The blurs of sparkling light. Horizontal clockwise. Counterclockwise. Vertical clockwise. Counterclockwise. Zika jaw, imperfect sync, imperfect harmony together. And I don't think we have anyone for the prayer today. So do you want to do this?
Samara, would you do the prayer?
Sure. Heavenly Father and Mother, we're so thankful for this beautiful day, this opportunity to gather together with our brothers and sisters around the world, and the technology that allows us to do this. We love you and we appreciate all of our many blessings. We're thankful that we can gather together to edify one another, to feel your spirit with us, guiding us, uplifting us. Please continue to do so, that we may always be the best versions of ourselves. In Yeshua's name, so be it.
So be it.
Sky had a good suggestion, is that while we're all here in this special energy, as we've said the prayer and the contemplative movements, excuse me, the Lanika, that this would be a good time to just everybody focus on Brother Tom being better from his illness and Sister Samara being healed from her pain of her passing of her daughter. So if everybody will just contemplate that, those energies, I'll say a quick prayer in that regard. Our Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, we love you so much. We are so grateful to be here, to be Celestines, to be in this very special group of wonderful energies of light. And we have two of our members in particular today. One, Brother Tom, who has a physical sickness, and two, Sister Samara, who has a heart sickness. And we ask that your energy would come to them, your love would be a balm on their heart and a healing to whatever infirmities they have of body or heart. And these things we humbly ask in the name of our brother Yeshua. So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
Okay, before we get started with our wonderful talks from Sister Dansha and Brother Reggie, I want to share some interesting insights. As you know, we have been going through for the last couple months now the very trying deterioration of Samara's daughter, Shana, her eldest daughter, who passed away on the 11th, last Saturday, at age 43, leaving behind two small children, 2 years old and 6 or 7 years old.
4 and 7.
4 and 7. Okay, I'm a little behind the time here. In any case, Samara and I felt very frustrated because we knew there was a lot we could do to help Shana that we weren't really allowed to do because of she didn't want it to happen. She had her own agenda that included, I guess, passing away. But in any case, of course, I've had other people pass away in my life, like my parents and stuff, and many people I've known actually have passed away. But I've never really looked any deeper than what I already knew about what happens in the afterlife. And of course, Samara was very interested. She wanted to know, well, what's happening with Shana right now? And so I inquired of both Miriam and Lazarus to get some further insight. And they told me a lot of things I already knew, but they also told me some things I didn't know, which were quite interesting. So I'm going to share them with you now, and then we'll go to our normal talks for today. So I asked Samara to ask me some questions that she would wanted answered. And it ended up that I was able to answer it all in one question, except I need to tell you the answer to this one first. We're going to be talking about good souls and bad souls and how that's determined by an angel. And so one of the questions is, well, how does the angel know if a person is good or bad by their soul? And so the answer for that is it's all about the aura. In this life, in the next life, it's still about the aura. There's no judgment necessary to determine whether someone is a good soul or bad soul, because it's obvious and shows in the tint of their aura. That's all it needs to be seen. It's just the tint of the aura tells you that. Now, the aura itself may be a rainbow of different colors. And whether someone's a good soul or bad soul, they can still have a rainbow of different colors in their aura. But the colors are not as important as the tint. So a good soul has vivid colors. Regardless of what those colors are, they're vivid colors. A bad soul has dirty, washed out colors. Again, it doesn't matter what the colors are. It could be red or yellow colors, but they're dirty and dingy colors. That's the tint. And that's what is easy to distinguish a soul by their auric light. So
And that actually wasn't one of my questions. That was just needed to be clarified.
yeah, before we get to the question, right.
Yeah, 'cause I knew it was something like that.
So if you want to read a different, I thought I had it here.
Yeah.
No, I was looking for Inception. You can grab the Inception up there. Inception. So if you want to read a different perspective on what happens after you die, besides the one I'm going to describe to you now, it's actually describing the same situation, but from a completely different way of looking at it. Just read the chapter 3 in this book, Inception, and it talks about Lazarus's journey and what he saw. So it's quite
Experience
interesting.
when he died.
So going to Samar's question, then, she basically wants to know what exactly happens when you call on the angel of soul passage. So if you have gone in the book Angels of Miracles and Manifestation, I think it's on page 144, somewhere like that, is the angel of soul passage. So this is a very important angel, and it can be extremely helpful to anyone who's a good soul. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. First of all, the angel of soul passage will only help good souls. It doesn't matter what religion someone is or is not, only that they were a good person in life and endeavored to help others and not hurt them by taking advantage of them. If that's the type of person they were, the angel soul passage can be called upon and will come and really help a lot. So during the last conscious times of a person's life, the angel of soul passage will come to them and will begin to facilitate their transition from mortality to immortality. The angel's presence and aid may be nothing more than a couple of minutes for someone who got gravely injured in an accident and is dying very quickly, or it could be a couple of days or even a week or two for someone who's slowly having their body shut down due to disease. Now, someone having angelic assistance for their soul passage is very, very blessed. If their death came suddenly, like in a car accident or a soldier being shot, the angel will put a peace and calm over their heart and mind that will allow them to not be afraid, upset, or anxious about all the new energies and personal and scenic changes that they're suddenly going to be experiencing. If the angel has more time, days or weeks before the person passes, they will slowly introduce them and accustom them and acclimate them to their new life of immortality. At times, when the person is sleeping, the angel will come and take the consciousness of the day self to the Keropian realm so that the dying person can experience the energies and the appearance of the surroundings in the Keropian where they'll be next. They may see other people at this time, but they will not be able to interact with anybody that they see when the angel is just bringing their consciousness of their day self there. Now, one of the most important blessings, and this is the one that actually brought tears to my eyes that I didn't know at all. One of the most important blessings that the angel soul passage gives to those that pass over a period of days is that during the last 24 to 48 hours of their life, the angel expands their Kan Jah centers and activates a field of energy within those centers, within the Kan Jah, that is never ever activated during normal life. And during this time, it's only activated during that period of time, 24 to 48 hours before they pass on, when they're in a dying state and the angel soul passage is helping them. So this time, even if the person seems like they're unconscious and unaware of people around them, just the opposite is true. Even if their body seems catatonic, during this blessed period, they'll be able to feel and understand the love of those around them that express that love with their words and actions to a degree that none of us could even conceive, regardless of how strong we have felt love for others, from our husbands to our wives to our children. While they are still in mortality, the angel soul passage allows that person who's passing to feel the depth of love on a Celestine level that's beyond our comprehension. Just saying it again brings tears to my eyes.
Well, and also during the last few hours of Shayna's life, I was able to, Embrosewyn, since he wasn't present, last week of her life, she couldn't wear clothes. So only women were in the room with her at that time. But I was able to take a picture of her covered where Embrosewyn could see the extra active energy centers of her heart and mind, that even though she seemed totally unconscious, other than moaning and still pain, even though she was heavily drugged, the jaw and the cob are highly active, which then made her aura appear to be stronger than it actually was, or that her body was experiencing.
Thank you. Now, without the angel's assistance, which again is only given to good souls, without the angel's assistance, the transition from mortality to immortality will be a frightful and drawn out experience. Not can be, but will be. For those without angelic assistance, there is no peaceful transition from life to afterlife. However, there is a big difference between the tormenting time of confusion that's experienced by the good souls versus the time endured by the bad souls. For a good soul, they will still have a time of fear and confusion at all the unknown energies and sights that are assaulting them, depending upon how much, if any, help they've had from the angel soul passage. So for instance, you could have a good soul who didn't have any help from the angel soul passage because neither that person nor anybody around them ever called upon and asked the angel soul passage to come and help. So if no request has been asked, then that person is going to have a time, a very short time if they're a good soul, but a time of great confusion, fear, and anxiety when they pass from mortality to immortality, because it's a very different world, it's a very different energy. All these unknown sights will be assaulting them. But that will only last about a day of our time for a good soul that has not had angelic help passing, and won't even happen at all for a good soul that has had angelic help passing. But for bad souls, that time of fright at the unknown can be anywhere from a week to a couple of months of our time. And whether it's a day or 2 months, this period is merely the prelude to the next phase of the afterlife, which is for the deceased person to live their belief. Now, if a person had any belief at all in what the afterlife would be like, after they pass through the period of fear and confusion at the unknown energies and the unknown surroundings, and no longer being in the mortal world, the reality that they believed the afterlife to be will be the surroundings that they find themselves within. For instance, if they believe that heaven was a place where everyone sits around on puffy clouds and white robes and plays harps, that will be their reality for a time. If they believe that there's a hell where the wicked will burn in a lake of fire forever and never be consumed, and that's where they were expecting to go, then that's exactly the reality they will begin experiencing for a time. if they had just a vague conception of the afterlife, like many people, the false reality they're experiencing may only last for a year of our time or less. But if they had a strong belief in what the afterlife would be, then they may experience what to them seems reality, but is really just a false reality for up to 50 years of our time. Now, all the time that they're living in that false reality, the true universal energies of reality are putting pressure on the false reality they believed in. And eventually, the pressure prevails and the false reality vanishes, leaving them fully aware of what the afterlife actually really is all about. And it's actually quicker, the whole process is quicker for someone that either has a true belief in what comes next after mortality, like we as Celestines do, or is an atheist or agnostic and has no belief at all in life after death. So there's no false reality to dissipate. Think about that for a minute. So someone who has a belief in the afterlife that's wrong, they're going to have a longer journey to getting to a better place in immortality than someone who's actually an agnostic or atheist, because they have no belief to dissipate. They have no belief that has to be a false reality for a time. So they skip that step and they go directly to the next step. So what is the next step? At this point in the passage of the soul, a person, after they've gone through their false reality, their balloon being punctured for that, they will be drawn to their first resonance in the Cropian realm. Now, this is not the final place their soul will be drawn to, but still another transition step. Now, for bad souls, they're going to be drawn to a place of emptiness and aloneness. Heat and light will be comfortable, but there will be nothing but them in the space. No other beings, no plants, no buildings, not even a ground or a sky, just them in space, existing, needing nothing, not even food, but also having nothing but themselves. Doesn't sound very interesting. For good souls, they will be filled with love. Though they will have tinges of longing for those that they loved and left behind in mortality, they will not have so much time to think about those left behind, as they are immersed in the love of many angels that know all about their life and continuously express their love and admiration for the person that is transitioning. Now, some of the angels will quickly become like best friends. And if the person had one or more guardian angels that they communicated with in mortality, then their guardian angels will be physically present to embrace them and love them as well. Now, the time that's spent in the emptiness by the bad souls can vary from about a year of our time to 10 years as we count time. There is an angel of the emptiness. I'm going to give you a new angel now. So you want to write this one down. There is an angel of the emptiness, and that angel's name is Zortasiel, spelled Zortasiel. Zortasiel. Now, this is not an angel that any of us can communicate with, including me. Zortasiel is only an angel for the recently deceased bad souls. Zortasiel alone decides how long someone remains in the emptiness. What the criteria is for how long that's going to be has not been revealed to me, so I can't share it with you. Now, the next phase of the afterlife is the judgment of resonance. This may take place fairly quickly after someone passed or hundreds of years later. It's up to the Elohim, and again, I don't know the criteria for that. All people, good souls and bad souls, will come at some point to the judgment of resonance. Elohim judges no one. They merely open the portal for them to be drawn to the resonance most in harmony with the light in their soul at that moment in time. What someone believed or didn't believe in life is mostly irrelevant. The judgment of resonance is all about how they acted, the moral standards they lived by, and how they treated other people, especially those in less advantageous situations in their life. For instance, if there was a Christian minister and everything that he believed and everything he taught about God was false, but he also taught and lived a life of love and charity and kindness to others without regard to religion or race or personal preferences or social standing, then that minister, by the light of his soul, will be drawn to a wonderful place of resonance in the Cropian. So it's not about what he believed, it's about what he lived in his life, what he amplified. During the judgment of resonance, the person's entire life will play like a movie before them and also be viewed by many of the angels of Elohim. This movie is called the Book of Life. If they had previously repented while in mortality, Elohim does not remember their sin and it's erased from their book of life. Otherwise, every good or bad deed or word they said, or even thoughts that crossed their mind, will be reviewed. At the end, good souls will be contrite and express remorse for those words and deeds that they had done that were not in the light. And you would think that bad souls would feel the same, but they don't. They typically are defiant and indignant at being forced to review their book of life. After the life review is over, the person's spiritual body is immediately drawn to the place in the Coropian realm where their soul will have the greatest resonance. The better someone's been in life, the more light they have in their soul, the more marvelous will be the place of their resonance. As it will be the place of their resonance, the good souls will be drawn to their dream's desire. If they dream to live in a spacious house overlooking a verdant jungle valley, so it will be. If they dream to live in a white marble mansion in a ritzy neighborhood, so it will be. In either place, or millions of other choices, they will find people residing there that have the same type of resonance and also wanted to live in a similar neighborhood and surroundings. The Coropian realm, here's some more new information for you that I've never given anybody before. The Coropian realm is a different dimension of space and time. It's the 11th dimension. Within the 11th dimension, there are 144 subdimensions of resonance. And within the subdimensions, there are countless neighborhoods of resonance. Once a person resides in their subdimension of resonance, they may or may not have other friends or family that they know living in the same subdimension. If they do have friends or family that are living in the same subdimension in the Coropian realm, they can visit each other anytime they desire. The subdimensions can be as vast as our planet Earth or even many times larger, or they can be as small as the country of North Macedonia where Sister Dancha and Brother Alex live. In most of the dimensions and subdimensions, there are many animals, but none of them are demeaned by being used for transportation like a horse. There are also no mechanical means of transportation like a bus or a car or a train. So getting from one place to another within a neighborhood can only be done by walking. Visiting another place in the subdimension can only be accomplished by using a geyser, a special type of water spring that Elohim created for people to travel within a subdimension instantly from one locale to another. There's still a lot of walking that's involved, as the geysers tend to be separated by at least a day's walk and are much further apart in subdimensions of lower resonance. Now, if someone wishes to visit a friend or family member that resides in a different subdimension, they will need to use a dimensional portal, which are very similar to the ones that Lazarus uses and describes in my books, Inception and Destiny. Now, the interesting thing with dimensional portals in the Coropian realm is they only allow passage of higher resonance. So they're not like the dimensional portals that we would encounter here on Earth, where we can go back and forth between the connections of the dimensions through the portal. In the Coropian areas, they only work for the passage of higher resonance. So for instance, someone with a higher resonance that lives in a subdimension of a higher resonance, and they want to visit someone in a lower subdimension, that's no problem for them. They can use a dimensional portal and they can go very quickly from their neighborhood and their subdimension to a different subdimension of a lower resonance. But it doesn't work the other way around. If someone from that lower one would like to visit them at an upper dimension, it's not possible. Lower can't go from upper unless they actually have the resonance of that upper level, which of course we're continually evolving, we're continually growing. And when people are in their neighborhoods and in their sub-dimensions, they have the opportunity to go to classes and learn and grow in every possible way. So the opportunities afforded to them, because they don't have to think about, well, what do I got to do to go to work today to make money to pay my bills? They don't have to think about things like that. They don't have to spend their time like that. So they have a lot of extra time to actually invest in their own personal growth and expansion. And so as people expand and grow and add light to their soul, that in turn allows them to be drawn to a higher harmony of resonance at a new subdimension and a new neighborhood. So that's kind of the way all that works. Now, the Celestine kingdom is actually the 12th dimension of time and space. So once, so higher beings from the Celestine kingdom can travel and visit any part of the Cropian or any other dimension or subdimension. Contrarily, as I said, nobody from any subdimension in the Cropian can visit a higher dimension, especially not the Celestine kingdom. So, however, they can earn the right, and it's important to remember that eternal progression is literally eternal progression. We all have the opportunity, both the good and the bad, to become better than we were, and to progress to higher rewards, higher delights, higher marvelousness, all those things. And it's certainly possible, and hopefully will be the case for all of us, that the Celestine kingdom is a place of our residence, and that we'll all be drawn quickly to that once we pass from this life. And I want to give you my testimony, brothers and sisters. I've shared a lot with you just now, and it's about very important things. And the things I've spoken to you about today that give you more understanding of the afterlife are true. This is the afterlife of truth. This is what is reality. In this world, most people really don't have a conception, even in among religions, they really don't have a conception of exactly what is the afterlife. They talk about the afterlife, but it's very nebulous. It's not nebulous in Celestine light. We get to know exactly what happens, and this is it. And I testify to this to you in the name of Brother Yeshua. So be it.
So be it. And I just wanted
So be
to
it.
share some of Shayna's personal experience of what happened when she passed, that the angel soul passage, Ra-A alias, was there to escort her to the dimension of love and light where she is now, preparing her to release her life and let go of the things that held her here through classes and interactions with higher beings, her guardian angels. And Philos went to her soon after she passed and introduced himself. And her response was, "You're real?" Because she chose not to believe in him in this life. And so many of the things that we tried to share with her, she was closed to, but now she has a different viewpoint. And then something else I wanted to share with you, which was a interesting, difficult thing to deal with, but being that this is the year of demons, Shayna had a friend who decided that it was her job to come up in the last days of her life to help her transition. Meanwhile, she came up, drove from San Francisco to Portland, high on peyote. And then she went to speak to her guides, who were demons, to find out what she should do to help Shayna pass over. And she had this idea that we should take Shayna's body after she dies and bathe it and lay it out on her bed for 24 hours while she chanted, and to help her soul pass. And first of all, this was not about Shayna, it was all about her and putting on this show, because she's a good singer, but she doesn't know what she's saying. Words come out of her mouth that she is actually opening vortexes of darkness. And she thinks she's doing something, I don't know what she thinks.
In any case, Samara put a kibosh on that pretty quick.
Yeah, but she still tried to do her thing. And after Shayna passed, unfortunately, she was already where she needed to be. But if somebody is like that around somebody where they're in that state of fear and confusion, and they open a vortex of darkness,
Doesn't help.
that is going to make the situation far, far worse. So had I not been there to call upon the angel soul passage, and this woman was allowed to do what she came up to do, it would have been a horrible way to end your life and go to the next phase.
Well, Mom was there, and it said, That's, I wrote about it, I think, on MeWe, but it's really amazing. It doesn't happen very often that children die before their parents. And even then, it's very rare. Samara gave birth to Shayna, so she was there for her first breath, and she was also there for her last breath. That's pretty, even in a sad time, that's a special thing. All right, Brother Reggie.
Yes. So what I'm gonna talk about is something that happened last week, and I'm gonna give a story to the event that happened last week. So a couple of months ago, and I'm gonna relate this to one of the readings in the Oracle, try to tie it together, which I'm blessed to experience overall. So a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago, back in February, actually March, I had a student who basically wanted to join a couple of our classes in Kung Fu. So he came in and joined different classes. Not too sure which class he wanted to be part of. So he decided to go to my class, which was a Tuesday, Thursday class. When he came to my class, he gave interest, very much so, about being part of Kung Fu. And that I was very, surprised, not surprised, but I was very happy for that to happen. So one of our policies in our Kung Fu school, because of COVID, is that we have to show, because of what's been stated in the policy of the school, that you've been vaccinated, because you can be around a lot of students. So what he did, he showed a false vaccination report coming into the class, into the school, and I pretty much didn't like that so much. So I told him that showed a lot of integrity, lack of integrity, and lack of truth. So I told him, you're not allowed to come in. Okay. He was very saddened and he was very upset, and he apologized tremendously. And I said no. So a week later, he brought his uncle. His uncle used to be in the class with me a couple years ago, 30 years ago. We trained together. I remember him and I trained together. And I spoke to his uncle in front of him. I said, your nephew was not being very, very honest with his integrity, and your nephew lied. In the principles of martial arts, especially in Kung Fu, is a code of truth and a code of justice where you got to be true to yourself and be true to those who are around you. And how you do one thing in this space is how you do everything. So every time he would do something outside of Kung Fu, he would lie about himself, which is unacceptable within the teachings of Kung Fu. And his uncle agreed to me what I said. His uncle told his nephew in front of me, he's got a point. Sifu, he has a very point. So you did something that's not truthful, and you have to understand that. And that's when I told his uncle, he's not going to be part of that class. I might decide later, I don't know when, but I'll decide. And when that decision happens, I will let him know. So that was that. He was very upset, the nephew, very saddened. He was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I said, this is the lesson that you need to know, because as you do things, you have to be within integrity. You cannot lie, because you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting others. So he fully understood, and he told me, so when I'm going to join? I said, I will let you know. So that was back in March. So March came and went, and then April came and went. And on the last week of April, I was doing my meditation. When I was doing my meditation, I had a voice that came in, and it came in and said, let Anthony join your class. He learned his lesson. And with me, I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. So I was getting angry. Like, I don't know. Being the kung fu guy like I am, I was like, I'm not gonna ask. My ego was getting up. He disrespected. And it said again, let him join. He learned his lesson. I said, okay. I calmed down after a second, and then I said, okay, I will. So that same day, that was a Saturday, I called him, and I was April, the last week of April. So I called him, and I said, I left a message. He didn't pick up. I said, Anthony, that was his name. I decided, and you could start this week. Come prepared and come ready. He immediately called me afterwards. As soon as I hung up the phone, he immediately called me back. And he was like, oh, okay, great. Thank you. 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 He was jumping up and down. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He was all excited. I was like, wow, okay. So I saw him. So I met with him that following week on Tuesday, right? He came in right on time, and he presented the proper documentation. He said, I'm so sorry. I really learned my lesson. You really showed me the lesson. I really learned my lesson. I said, yeah, I'm glad you did, because I was mad at you. He said, I know you were, I know, but I'll make it up. I'll be the best student you ever had. I said, I know, because the reason why I know, because you're here now, and I could see that. So you learned your lesson. So he said, yeah. So I said, so you're gonna start, Thursday. I'm gonna have my other instructors teach you, and get ready to dive into the ways of Kung Fu. He said, I can't wait. He got his uniform, and he was joining the class. He was right on time every day, Tuesday and Thursday, right on time. A diligent grasshopper. I call him grasshopper. Diligent. He learned his stuff. He was asking questions. Diligent. He really. I'm glad I'm glad at that point I let him come. I let him join the class, right? So last week, June 10th, well, actually June 12th, I got a call. From his uncle that he died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he died. So I was like, come on, stop joking with me. What are you talking about? I just taught him on Thursday. What are you saying? Don't joke. He said, nah, it's not a joke. He transitioned. He said died, but I said in my head he transitioned. I said, what happened? He said, the night after the class on Thursday, he called me all excited. He said, I just had a lesson with Sifu Reggie, and he gave me a gift. The gift that I gave him a brick that I broke in half. I said, this is my gift to you, and I want you to use this gift to train and understand, to learn to break, bricks and slab. This is your gift. So he was all excited. He was telling his uncle how he learned, he got that, and he was excited. And then he's like, he can't wait to come back the following week to get more lessons. So what happened that evening, he was out to dinner with his friends, celebrating, being happy. He had an allergic reaction to peanuts. So, and he didn't have his EpiPen. So his throat tightened up, and he collapsed on the train station as he was talking to his mom. So when they came to revive him, they couldn't revive him, so he transitioned. So when I heard that, and I was like, wow. And it kind of flashed in front of me, from the day that I met him to the day that I taught him, how those days were very important to him, for him to learn his lesson. How those days allowed him to grow, to realize his importance and the reason why he came to the existence, right? And I guided him through that process, because if I said no, not to come back, right, I would have stunted him from that growth, right? I would have stunted him from that lesson, right? So as I was talking to his uncle was telling me that, Sifu Red, he talked about you every single day since he started. He talked about how you gave him a chance, how you helped him understand, how you helped him learn the true values of integrity and truth, and how you helped him become a better person. He also said how he was excited to be in your class and how he was learning a lot. He couldn't stop talking about you every single day. And I was like, wow. So what I did, so Brother Ambrosewyn, you gave a class, I think last time about, having, when a person transition, having things buried with him, with that person, right? So what I did, I told his uncle, can I tell you something? I would like for you to have, Anthony be buried with his kung fu uniform and his kung fu notes, so that when he transitions, he goes to a new life learning kung fu already. Because during that passageway, he will learn everything he needs to learn to start to his next life. And his uncle said, wow, that's a good idea. I'll do that. And I wanted to give him a sword also, which I wanted to engrave to give to my student. But his uncle said he couldn't do that because his mom would feel kind of weird. But I said, okay, just have with the uniform, have him be buried to uniform and the kung fu notes. That's going to help him to his next life. All right. And he was happily pleased. And I also contacted the angel of soul passage during that time too, to guide him through that process, right? So when I went back to class to teach, I felt that everything went well for him in his transition, and I felt good. All right, I felt good. So with this also reminded me of a passage I read in the Oracle, and I like to share with everybody here. It's basically Genesis chapter 11, verse 114 to 125. And it goes like this. Remember, you are not the frail mortal shell which you see in the mirror, but a radiant, immortal child of divinity, which weapons cannot kill, fire cannot burn, disease cannot rack, and sadness cannot overwhelm. You were not born, nor can you die. You are eternal, permanent beyond time and death. And death has no meaning for you. You are everlasting, immortal, indestructible, deathless, and without birth. Save the birth of your spirit and soul through the love of your heavenly Father and Mother before this world was. Whatever tragedies, afflictions, and sorrows occur in your life, even unto death, happens not to you, but only upon your shell of mortality, the frail covering of flesh and bones housing your soul. This also temporary shell does not need a pestilence or disease or war to destroy it. When it becomes old, if it survives the wars and pestilence and diseases, it will still wear out and cease to be. Therefore, be not concerned about the number of years given to your mortal shell, for there are a myriad of ways by which it can come to an end, some sooner, others later. But to an end it shall always come. Be more concerned with your indestructible and immortal soul, that what you can do in the years giving unto you in immortality to perfect it and help it to radiate its glory. This is your destiny. And if through accident or disease or war or tribulation your sojourn in mortality ends before its time, you shall be giving another, even until you have an ample opportunity to fulfill the full measure of your mortal experience. Like onto the schoolhouse in your town burning down, the destruction of mortal shell, if premature, does not end the opportunity of your soul to expand in mortality. For even as another school will be built in your town, that you would continue your education, and so shall another mortal shell be given unto your soul in another mortal life, perhaps even on another earth, that you might have the opportunity to fulfill the full measure of your mortality. I say again, fear not the frailties of mortality, even unto death, even where all life upon your earth is to be destroyed by the follies of man. You remain, you are not touched, you are not destroyed, for you are sons and daughters of God, and you are as eternal as the Elohim. Your destiny remains true and clear. You are not the body, but the soul. Your soul is you, and you are eternal. You are light. You are good. You are one with all of creation. Therefore, ever seek to fulfill the divinity of your creation, ever doing good, ever welcoming the resonance of the spirit of Elohim into the bosom of your soul. ever seeking the perfection of your being in every way. This is your destiny. So as I read this, I realized that Anthony was brought to me for a reason. He was brought to me for him to learn his lesson, to be true to himself, to be full of integrity no matter what, and never take the shortcut in life. And I was there for him to guide him with that process and to let him know that when he goes to the next another life, another earth, another dimension, that he will have the tools to understand that even further, because now he's a true kung fu master. And I attest to you, my brothers and sisters, that these true words are the truth in the name of Yeshua. So be it.
So
So
be
be
it.
it. Oh, thank you for such
Thank
a
you.
wonderful explanation and a story of your experiences. That was
Yeah,
wonderful.
that was
and
great.
Welcome. Thank you.
Great,
And
interesting.
it's certainly what you taught Anthony in the last months of his life that he had association with you. What you taught him brought more light to his soul and certainly enabled his soul passage to be much easier than it would have otherwise been.
And affects his eternity.
Right. And I did feel that when after that, I did.
Thank you, Brother Reggie,
Yes.
so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sister Danja, have you a lesson for us today?
Oh, yes, I do. First of all, thank you. Thank you to everyone for, thank you, Brother Embrosewyn, for the beautiful explanation of, now I understand from where Lazarus was when he died. He was in Celestine realms with all the gazers and everything and the gateways. Now I understand more. You have given us truly a greater knowledge about afterlife. And it was amazing because I have often people who are dying and their spirits come to me so I can help them to transit, and I open a portal. I don't know how, it's not me, it's probably was the angel of soul passage that opened the portals through me in a corner of my room wherever I lived. So this kind of informations for me as a healer and as someone who can see the passing souls, it's truly beneficial. So thank you very much. And my condolences, Brother Reggie, for your student also. It's,
Thank you.
we truly, especially the more we are in the Celestine light, we truly can feel when someone is looking better in his light so he can pass in a more gracious way. And I had many examples when people just don't get me, like Nicodemus here, that I will speak about in a little, that you can see that they just don't understand and there is nothing you can do. But for this young man, you did something and they understood. And as we spoke, one needs to be grateful for every single opportunity they have. I had clients that I have helped 2 years and more that, and in the end they said, well, I don't know if the angels done this. I don't know if I believe in the energy after 2 years. And I said, okay, we are done. By this, by me and the angels and Elohim helping you through life for 2 years, and you still don't know if this is Elohim that was helping you, you don't deserve my help. So this is your door. You either respect Elohim or I cannot help you. Respect for Elohim. Even before I know the word Elohim was everything to me, even to Alex before he became my husband, I said, God comes first, then my clients, then you. Are you okay with this? He said yes. And I said, good, then we can be married. So today we will speak about chapter 16 and chapter 17, because chapter 16 has one big point, but it's a small chapter. And then chapter 17. So chapter 16 is the wrath in the temple. It's amazing how nothing is changed. I read the oracles and I'm amazed how people are still in the darkness. The prophecy of Yeshua is still going on. We are still in the dark ages of humanity. And when Yeshua and Miriam and his disciples came into Jerusalem the day before a Passover, because Yeshua wanted to be there every Passover in Jerusalem, he straight away he went to the temples, because I believe he knew what was happening then. And since every year they go there, I believe that this year, the year in the oracles, it was something terrifying that was happening there with all the he found the sellers of sheep and oxen and turtle doves and the money changers calling out to him. And this was the first time he gets into this temple for Passover, but something snapped. What snapped? The abomination of the people that defiles something that was meant to be sacred. As he says to his disciples, when man dares to defile that which has been dedicated to the sacred, righteous anger is well served. But what happened before? He asked from all his disciples, future apostles, to get all the ropes, to remove all the ropes from their clothes, and to make a scourge of knots and beads. And they made it so fast, I can see that in 5 minutes they were done. And this the scourge they made was lashes with many ropes and many beads and many knots. And I can see still Yeshua just slashing, just slapping that on the tables and turning with such, because he was very powerful man, even in his earthly body, but that having with the righteous anger in his eyes, like when Miriam was kidnapped. It's not in the oracles, when Miriam and the young lady that were kidnapped by a group of someone who has felled an eye for the young lady from they were immigrants, I believe so. And when Yeshua, that was before they got married, and when Yeshua came into the darkness to save, together with Lazarus, to save Miriam, this was the first time I sensed this righteous anger. And then with the robbers of Zin, that he protected his family, and being Elohim the Son, he had so much strength and power in him that he actually ruined the temple. Why? Because the people there defiled the sacredness, and they still do. And this righteous anger, he wanted to show to his disciples, to Miriam, that there is a time to embrace someone. There is a time to be silent. There is a time, every time, almost every time, is a time to be centered and peaceful. But there is a time to display righteous anger, especially when something held sacred is going to be defiled. And this also includes people, because we have seen many movies. We have, I don't know if you have in person seen that no one can harm a person that is protected by Elohim. You just cannot. And if Yeshua isn't there, like I wasn't born in the time when Yeshua walked the earth. Oh, I wanted to be so much to hear him speak, to hear his teachings. But I'm born in this time. But Elohim, they didn't let anything happen to me. Oh, and I tried so much, not the others. I have tried so much to put an end to my life, but they didn't let it. I'm a living example. When something is going to be someone to work for Elohim, to be a steward of Elohim, they protect it with all their power. And this is the righteous anger they are showing by saving us, by saving something and someone that is going to be sacred and is going to help so many people, like the temple in Jerusalem. It is a sanctuary for everyone who has faith in Elohim, even though it's a building and even though it's a man-made building, but their people do pray, do take their hearts out. They do believe there. This is why it's sacred. It's not the object, it's the prayers, it's the energy, it's the amount of people that pray. And also, this is also for people when we are going to be heard, all of us, children of light, as Sister Samara and Sky and Brother Embrosewyn, they always remind us, Elohim will never ever let any harm to fall upon a child of light. Never. They will do everything in their power to get us off the harm situation. But it's up to us to hear them or not. But every child, 90% hear them. But they are here. They will never let anything happen to us. We just need to hear. And how do we?
I just want to say, you said a very important key there that everybody needs to understand, is that yes, Elohim will always be there to help protect us. That's why Miriam gives us so many warnings of things, but it's still up to us to act upon that. So we only have as much protection as we're willing to follow the guidance.
Exactly. We need to heed the call to turn left, not to go right.
Exactly.
Just to turn your vehicle in the other street. And I can hear them, and I know that you all can hear the sweet voice of Elohim the Mother by the Holy Spirit we have in our hearts. She is the one always telling us what to do and what not to do. She is the barrier of the Holy Spirit of Elohim. It is her that will call intuition, and you should hear her. It is her talking to you. She is gentle, but she only speaks once. Thus, we need to listen and listen closely. As Yeshua says now to Nicodemus, open your eyes, your ears, Nicodemus, more. Open your heart so you can feel and embrace the celestial light, because only by the celestial light you will be enlightened. And how Nicodemus came to Yeshua. Well, what has been done to the temple was done, and the priests came. By what authority do you think that you are doing this? Like all Pharisees and priests speaking in those days to Yeshua. And I can see Yeshua just calm as a perfect summer breeze, telling them, you destroy the temple, it will be rise in 3 days. Oh, we have been 46 years to build this temple, and you can rebuild it in 3 days, but they didn't hear. He wasn't talking about the temple in Jerusalem. He was talking about himself. And neither the disciples understood what he was talking about, because the last sentence is, but he spoke of the temple of his body, and when the later rose from the dead, his disciples remembered the words he had spoken that day. They didn't understand it then. Well, I don't know where their minds were when he was talking. They didn't even ask, oh, Lord of Light, what do you mean by this sentence? I don't see them asking much questions, but they supposed to. They had Yeshua by their side.
Let me interject there again too, because I'll give you some insight of that. Not unlike a lot of people today, people get afraid to ask questions because they're afraid that they'll look foolish if they ask a question like that, or not as wise as people may perceive them to be if they say something. So the apostles were, yeah, they were reticent oftentimes to ask questions unless Yeshua prodded them to ask, because they didn't want to be looked at as being, well, he should know that, or something like that.
Well, yeah, I can see how they thought of themselves less, but they could ask more questions.
Oh, they should have. Yeah, certainly.
If I was there, I would have asked a lot of questions.
But then the oracles would be
Yeah, me
longer, and there
too.
wouldn't be anybody who could print a book that big.
And after what happened in the temple, when they saw that you can be nice in times, but you also need to be not so nice, because there is one more verse in the oracles when Yeshua says, sometimes people learn only by this way, only when the hand of Elohim hits them and they are pushed to the ground. Some people learn only with this kind of power. They don't learn the quiet way. They don't learn the peaceful way. Some people learn the hard way. So sometimes we need to distinct when we should be quiet, but when we should act, especially when there is an unrighteous deed unfolding before us. We should act, because if you stay silent, you are an accomplice to the foul deed. Not doing anything, it's not like you are not guilty. You should have done something. Not doing anything doesn't repent you from being there in the wrong time. There is no wrong time for the right action. We need to take action. As Brother Embrosewyn just said, we will be judged by what we did and by what we didn't do, but we were supposed to do, and what we said and what we didn't said, but we were supposed to say. So heed the words of Yeshua and be righteous, whether righteously peaceful or righteously anger. And him being Yeshua and being righteous in everything, they all came in the streets in Jerusalem. And then they saw a man knitting a basket, waving a basket with his teeth and one hand, because his other arm were deformed. And this man was just sitting there in the market, and he was so humble and he was so happy. And this is why Yeshua picked him from all the people. Sometimes I asked myself, before I knew more, I asked myself how Yeshua picked whom to heal, which person should be the lesson for his disciples. But in the same way, I pick my clients. It's the one soul that is most humble in the place where you are. This is how Yeshua picked them. This is how he knew who is the lesson for his disciples and who needs to be healed. Of course, he was Elohim, the Son, and he knew their energy, their aura, if it is tinted or not. But how we ordinary people or children of light can pick to whom to help, it's by the humility they have in their eyes, no matter the deformity, no matter the trouble they're in, they're always humble, and they always answer the same answer to the question Yeshua asked this man plainly. Are you angry with God because of your infirmity? And all the people who deserve love and healing from Elohim answer always the same. No, the man cried out. God has blessed me with my infirmity, for I could have easily been killed and left my family desolated. I'm gratefully blessed, for I still live and I still hold my wife and children every day. Surely God must love me. The people who are humble in their hearts, no matter the disease, no matter the illness, they never say that God punishes them, that God doesn't love them. They always say that maybe I don't know, but there is a reason because this is happening. Well, maybe God hasn't heard about me, but still he loves me enough just to have me here, not in the hole, but okay, with one arm, with one leg. I'm good, I'm thankful. He was thankful that he was still alive. And this is why Yeshua says this beautiful sentence. Anyone who have read the oracles, they will know that in every sentence that Yeshua ever said, every single word tells us exactly the formula why this person is healed. Just hear the next verse. You are a faithful father and husband and deserve to be with your family in wholeness for the years that remain to you. You have shown your love for Elohim in your family, and now Elohim returns what you have given. This is how before he heals someone, he tells his disciple that this person is going to be healed because they are faithful. They are humble, they are thankful, and they are faithful. They are faithful father, faithful husband. They are good people, and they deserve. He says you deserve, because he sees his soul and he deserves to be whole to the rest of his years here on earth. And because this person has shown love to Elohim all these years in his situation, now it's the time that the love will be returned. I just recently read chapter 87 or 78. I don't remember, when Elohim speaks about healing. And there, it's a whole chapter only about healing. And Yeshua perfectly says, there must be a whole circle when you return something to the heaven. But here the opposite is also true. When you give to the heaven, and now you have your reward. The whole circle is being made. Healing is a closing process. When you give, you get. And when you get, you have to give. And this man gave. And this is why he was healed. By the love he gave for Elohim, by the love he had for his family, by the love he had for his children. And because he said to a person he didn't know that still he loved God, no matter how he looked like. This is the true faith. And thus he was healed, and he was made whole, and he ran to his family. This is how miracle works. By closing the circle, you are giving all of your life, And when we die, when we pass in the afterlife, this is how the circle is closed. Everything we have given, every single thought, every single word, every single deed will be returned to us in equality. Thus we are judged on earth and in heaven. And then a mother came with her daughter, and she said, "O man of God, please heal my daughter. She will die soon because she is infested with worms." And Yeshua looked at her and asked, "Do you believe that I can heal your daughter?" And the mother, through tears, she said, "Yes, O man of God, I do believe." And this is a healing of faith, a faith healing. This is how Yeshua healed, not by vanity, not by anything that today's healer heal, but he healed by their own faith. This is the most important thing we should remember. We are healed by our own faith. Thus was healed the daughter of Babuat, and thus was healed everyone through their fathers. If the child can't heal themselves, can't ask for healing. This time too, it was not the hand of Babuatan touching the eyes of his daughter, but it was he was looking in the eyes of the mother, and he said, "By your faith, so be it." He was looking the eyes of the mother and sending her faith to heal her daughter. So it's always the faith and the love and the gratitude. And thus he said, "In those with faith and love and gratitude all day long he healed. But those without faith, without love, and without gratitude, he turned his back and healed them not." So you can be righteously angry. You can deny someone's healing if it is justified by what? By not having faith, by not having love, and by not having gratitude. Even if they have seen everything that you do. This is what Yeshua says. This is condemning themselves because the light is before them and they see it not. This is the greatest condemnation a live person, a live spirit children of Elohim can ever do to himself, to his own soul, to deny her the light that she sees before her. This is what a bad character of a human being does, denies the light to his spirit by not believing to what he sees. And that same night, a Pharisee came to Yeshua because he wanted to know more. And not everyone were opposed to Yeshua's teachings that we know in the last chapters. This man was called Nicodemus. He gave his tomb to lay Yeshua's body. He was a perfect disciple. I believe he was also called to be guardian of planet with his wife, on the planet Earth with his wife. Thus, see how all the gifts he had been given just because he came to Yeshua this faithful night to seek greater light. He came to become a guardian of planet Earth, he and his soulmate, his wife. See what happens if you heed the call to the beautiful voice in your soul. You get to be part of the celestial light of the most wonderful ways that you can never imagine. Can you even imagine that we are here on Zoom having a family of light and being called to these offices we are called? This happens when you hear Elohim's voice. So no matter who is talking to you, who is preaching to you not to believe in your own self, in the voices you hear in your head, just do it. Go. This is also what Yeshua said to Nicodemus when he asked, the first question to Nicodemus was, I want to know how a man can be sure to attain heaven in the next life. And Yeshua says, verily, I say unto you, except a man is born again, he cannot inherit the kingdom of God. And imagine when you say to Pharisee to be born again, a man in that time, the next question says, oh, the way they think. How can a man be born again when he is old? Can he enter a second time into his mother's womb and be born another time? Well, yeah, poor Nicodemus. No, they cannot enter mother's womb another time. But Yeshua talked about metaphor. This is why Yeshua said, aren't you the great teacher? How can you not understand me speaking about the earthly things and you expect to understand when I speak of heavenly things? This is why we always say, use your car together with your jaw, because if you only want to do something and you don't rationally think about it, yeah, you will ask a silly question, but the most important thing is that you will also get the answer. And Yeshua says, no, the born again, you have to be born 3 times, because Elohim is 3 personage. Elohim the Father, Elohim the Mother, and Elohim the Son. Thus, you need to be born 3 times, born in flesh, by water, and by fire. And only after the birth of the flesh, the first time, the repentant of heart is born by water, second time, then renewed with the Spirit of God, sanctified to a new life, he will be baptized by fire the third time. And only a man who is born of flesh and of water and of fire can enter the kingdom of heaven. And then Yeshua explains to Nicodemus that to ascend, first of all, you must come to earth, not to descend, but just to come here to earth. The word ascending means that you are not there yet, so you must be here so you can ascend. He explained metaphorically everything to Nicodemus, to Miriam, and to his disciples in that night. And he also told Nicodemus who he was. And yet, at the end of the oracles, Nicodemus asked, are you Elohim the Son? And he tells him in the start of the night, but people never listen. They never listen with an open heart. They only listen to the question they ask and they are waiting for the answer. Just the answer to their question. They do not listen the whole story behind the question. Which is the answer? Still here, again, today, people just wait for this one sentence to the answer of your beautifully ask heavenly question, and heavenly questions are not answered in one sentence, but in whole oracle they are answered. This is the answer of how can man attain heaven after this life. It's not one night with Yeshua and his teachings. It's all these oracles, and it's everything we've ever known in our hearts. Because Elohim the Son came not to punish us, but to show us greater light, to give us again the fullness of celestial light in writing. We just need to click on Amazon to buy it. It's simple. And then comes the understanding. We need to understand it. Not everyone that is called will be chosen. Here comes the understanding. But Nicodemus eventually understood because Yeshua gave him the simple path to righteousness, so he can know his adversary, because the darkness comes slowly. It consumes you step by step, because the demons are immortal. They have all the time in the world to wait us to make mistake. And how do we to not make mistakes? Always choose right, even when you are tempted to do wrong. Always choose the light, even when you have secretly chosen the darkness. Even then, even when you have done a dark deed, always in public choose the light. Always choose right, even when all of your friends choose wrong. Always. This here also goes about false testimony. Never ever do anything that other people do just to be liked. Always choose the light, even when doing so will cause you to suffer because of the world, as the apostle did, as all the good people still do. But no matter the consequences, always choose the light. As Yeshua says to Nicodemus, "O Nicodemus, always choose the light and the right, no matter the consequences, and only then the darkness will have no place in you." And my dear children of light and future children of light, always, always choose the right and the light. And how do you know when the light is standing beside you, and when this is righteous and light? Nexus chapter 2, the preamble and the admonition of the apostles. When you set yourself to a prayer to Elohim, and you feel the light in your Ka energy center, and you feel the love in your Cha energy center, and then you will know that you are in the presence of the light itself. When your Ka and your Cha are in harmony, your Z is open to the light and wisdom of Elohim, and you will know, and there is no man on earth to show you differently. Always heed the call to the Holy Spirit of Elohim. And I testify with all that I am today that these words are true. Be blessed, my brothers and sisters of light. Be blessed.
In the name
And
of
be
Yeshua,
wise.
so be it.
Will be it.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
dear sister.
That was
So be
wonderful.
it.
Inspiring as always.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
The
well,
word just came out.
you're well called to your position. That's for
You're a
sure.
joy to listen to.
Thank you so much, Sister Dansha. That was a great talk, and it's so wonderful to hear you talk about the oracles because you know them so well. You bring them alive for all of us to listen to you talk about them.
Thank you. It's a humble duty that I do with all my heart. And I must say, the more I do, the more I see. I literally see what was going on back there. It's like I'm standing beside you or behind you when you were there and writing this. The more I read, the more I understand. Just yesterday, I had again aha moment, and I thought I knew it, but still there are deeper meanings to every single word.
There are,
And
and so wonderful
blessed.
to discover them.
I'm truly blessed to be part of all of you, of this beautiful family of light.
Well, we are
We all
blessed as
are.
well.
Speaking of the family of light, we want to continue to grow our family of light so we have more people at our meetings. And one of the things, we talked about the geocaching, but we have another thing we're doing.
And I will send out those cards.
Oh, yes,
Now that I'm back.
yeah, we
Right.
that's
Those of you that wanted the circle cards or the
Yeah.
round cards, I
Yeah,
will
they're
send them
just-
out.
been pretty bad in sending out things we said we're going to send out. But in addition to doing the geocaching, the other thing that we just started doing for the first time yesterday, which is kind of fun, is at least in our town, and I'm sure it's probably the same in other towns in the United States anyway, there are set up all around different spots, just out of the way, you don't recognize them, where there's little stands for people to put books that they want to exchange with other people. So you can put a book in the stand, or you can go take a book out, read it, bring it back. It's like a little lending library. It's in a small stand cabinet. And
It's
they call
called,
them little library boxes.
And it's littlelibrary.org, I believe.
It's actually an organization, littlelibrary.org. And so anyway, we started putting, yesterday we had 5 copies of the oracles, and we just put 5 copies of in 5 different boxes of the oracles. And then one of the places that we went to, again, the things that you may find other cities have similar places, is here in town. This is not a big town, it's only 20,000 people, but we have what's called a metaphysical library, which I have to confess I'd never been in. I noticed they had moved to different buildings over the years, but I went into it yesterday when we were looking for places to put the oracles. I said, well, metaphysical library, they might like the oracles. So we brought a copy to them. Of course, they're very excited about it. And then I realized, wow, this is a place that should have all my books because it's a metaphysical library. And so,
And they also sell books.
yeah, so they actually, it was separated in 3 sections. So there's one section that every book in that section was a free book. You could get any book that was there, you could just take home and not bring back.
They had extra copies.
And in the middle section were books that were for lending that you could take out for 2 weeks, like a regular library, and bring back. And the third section was books if you want to actually buy. But definitely we'll look for some more of those metaphysical type libraries in other towns to leave copies of the oracles with.
Yeah, so if you have, if you can look in your area for a metaphysical library, we can send you an oracles to put in there if you like.
Right. So rather than having to buy an oracles on Amazon or some other venue, which is expensive, it's a big book. If you will let us know if you have a library or a place that you could place it that would be
1 or 2 even.
publicly available, let us know and we will send you copies, because we're able to get those copies at
What it costs
yeah,
us.
what cost for
to print.
printing costs basically. And so we would get that through the church and through the generous donations that some people make to the church through tithing. We're able to have the funds to buy those books and mail them out to those of you who would like to place them places. So, we're only going to find new members if we have ways for them to find us. And so having an oracles out is one of the ways.
And I was also thinking of it as, because we have so many different businesses, to think of our family of light as a brand. I mean, that's the world we live in now. So there is TikTok, there's I was reading about influencers, become an influencer. I mean, those of you who are younger and know that world, make videos or share the light with others in the world so that they can find Celestine light. And so we have to think outside the box, or in the box that is now currently available to people of the world, that's been created with all these different social media platforms, to use them to grow our family of light.
And for my part, I've agreed to Samara's suggestion of getting back on a schedule of things I need to do every day, so that I'll have more time dedicated to Celestine light each day, and more time dedicated in a certain number of hours at minimum each day to write, because most people have found Celestine light originally through reading one or more of my books. So we'll get more of those books out.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you. This, may I, if you are finished speaking,
Yes.
may I ask? Okay. This is exactly in the energy I was waiting this meeting, because I have an idea about how to promote, not to promote, to unleash the celestial light energy here in Macedonia, because it is a very touchy subject, religion here. We still have religious wars, and yeah, so it's still metaphysics, and the esoteric things are still taboo. That is still taboo. Having another god named Elohim is major point. So I need to be very careful, but I am getting to a point that I will be translating and little verses in both of my pages that I have for with the school, and starting writing from which book are these. So this is one idea. And being the evangelist, I know I can do that, but I wanted your approval of something else. Now, since I have finished my book, I had the idea of making a postcards. I even have a client who has a printing firm, editing firm, or I don't know what kind of business this is, but she can print me and make and help me make cards, and each card will have a beautiful image and a quote of the celestial light in Macedonian language, with maybe we can make a QR code for our site for www.celestiallight.org. We can create a QR code, and I can put the QR code there and the Celestine site, along with my school QR code of my school, that they can find me, where they can find me, so I can explain more to those who are ready to hear the celestial light. So that was my idea. If I can do this, if I can print out postcards with the celestial light, the oracles and quotes from the other books from Embrosewyn, and just gift cards, we can do much with these cards, and even for a book, how you say,
Mark.
bookmarks that have a beautiful verses of celestial light, and with like book depository, it will say celestiallight.com. So this I can do in Macedonia.
Wonderful. Oh, you're thinking along the same lines as I have been for many years, and I need to get back to that project because I've been working on the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quotes and yeah.
Absolutely. On one condition, though, you have to send us a sample of the things so we can have it for ourselves. But other than that,
Yes, I will. I will, yeah. I will see if it will go more on English language or both English and Macedonian. So postcards are something that everyone would like to have. Just I will have it here in my room and just give to everyone else. So this is a good way to start sharing the celestial light, I believe, through beautiful images and small quotes. So, but there will also have my school, so where they can find more informations.
Yeah, I think it's
Sounds
awesome.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you. I needed your permission first before I start everything else.
Appreciate you asking that, and absolutely go forward. And again, nobody's going to find us if we don't have a way for them to find us. So the more
Yeah,
that we can get out there for them to see and discover, if they're a child of light, this is the time for them, they'll be drawn to that. But it has to be there for them to be drawn to. So yeah, absolutely. Great.
Build our brand.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments?
Angel.
Oh, angels. Okay. All right, Guy.
So I've got an angel. Tell me if I've given you the angel of the Z key, and that's Zeramqua. I don't believe I have.
Zero.
Zeramqua. Does that sound familiar about the Z
No.
key? I'm pretty sure I haven't.
No,
Okay.
you gave us the
No.
card. No.
Yeah, I've done the ka and the jaw and the
Yeah.
quo. I know. Okay.
yeah,
Good. Well, this is the angel of the Z key, and his name is spelled like this: X, E as in Edward, R, A, M as in mom, Q, U, A, Zeramqua. Again, all of the angels that have a Z key or have a root key as their stewardship will have the name of that root key in their name. So Zeramqua starts with the Z. So we're going to call on the angel of the Z key, Zeramqua. And you know, the Z key is one that people don't always think of that often. It's out of the body, it's above your head, and it's connected directly with your connection with Elohim, with your guides, with angels, with your psychic intuitive abilities, all of these wonderful abilities that so few people ever develop on this planet. And it all comes from your Z key. It's connected with your pineal gland. And you know, most people's pineal gland is not very big, not very connected or in good shape. So the more that you work with your Z, as all the root keys, of course, but it's such a wonderful expansion for all of us. And anytime you want help with that, you just call on Zeramqua. Z, I'm saying, isn't that?
You're saying zero.
Oh, Zeramqua. So we're going to call him in now. Zeramqua, Zeramqua, Zeramqua. Please come to us. As we need, so let it be. Zeramqua, Zeramqua, Zeramqua. Please come to us. As we need, so let it be. Zeramqua, Zeramqua, Zeramqua. Please come to us. As we need, so let it be. Zeramqua, thank you for being here with us and your wonderful stewardship of the Z key. And for all of us, we all can use help in that area. And so help us each as we are requiring and ask and need, and all those that will listen to the video in the future. And we just love you and appreciate you for what you do. Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Thank you, Sky.
Okay, and the word of power that I've chosen for today, I may have shared it with you at another time. It's not in the book, so the word is yodelar, and that's spelled, I have shared it before, YODOLAR, and that's to call forth the best version of yourself. And so that's what we're going to do today, is call forth the best version of ourselves. Remember to begin softly. Once again, the spelling of that word of power is YODOLAR, yodelar.
That's D as in dog. I always say that because D and T sounds so
And
much
E.
alike. And E, yeah.
Okay, yodelar.
Yodelar.
Okay, let's begin softly.
Yodelar.
Yodelar. Yodelar. All right, we're going to be so good. People won't even.
Nor
Well,
else.
yeah.
All right, my brothers and sisters, it's we've spent 2 hours together again. It's amazing how time flies when I think about, wow, 2 hours.
Yeah, that'd be
But
boring. Something else.
everything that's presented is so helpful, so wonderful to hear, and so uplifting. I enjoy this time together very much, and I'm glad we're able to do it again.
Yes.
Yeah. And we want to be here even more.
Well,
Thank
we're so
you.
thankful for each and every one of you. You uplift us and give our lives even more purpose.
I got to show you this new magic mineral that I found.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see, next Sunday will be the priesthood meeting.
Yes.
Right.
I have a theme, a subject. Can we speak about some priesthood meeting or general about sacred geometry?
Sure.
course.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah, because here I also wanted, as Brother Reggie would say, 2 quick questions. This is my favorite quote now. Quick question.
43 pounds of magic mineral, all in
Wow.
one rock.
And all the way around.
It
Yeah.
just vividly shows up, isn't it mostly pink
Yeah.
and red?
Or, yeah,
kind of?
orange.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful when we shine the light on it.
Yeah.
But we don't have a light big enough to actually show it
Show it.
all.
Yeah. So, yeah,
What's the question?
Dancha was asking about speaking of the next meeting on
Sacred geometry.
And to continue on the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah, so write that down, as long as it's written down, so I can
Right,
look
I'll
back
put
to
it
it.
here.
And also the complete list of the paranormal abilities. You gave us a partial list.
That's right.
Yeah.
Got to keep reminding us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
please, and I may not get to all those things in complete the whole time, but we'll
Yeah.
work on them.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me. I please encourage you to remind me, because trust me, I do.
We're getting better organized
Because
now.
we do write these down, but they get lost in the notes.
They've
so-
been
Look behind you at my desk, and you can see it's got a few things on it.
But
all
I've been
good.
working on it. It's finally coming around to
Doing a
organize,
schedule, to be more organized.
because Miriam said that was a good idea.
We all have room for improvement.
Any other comments or questions, brothers and sisters?
I have a quick question. Well, I got inspired about sacred geometry in a verse here in these chapters that we spoke about today, saying Yeshua says that the circle is the perfect form of Elohim, of divinity. So I want to speak more about circles or triangles or the hexagram. So this is why I got inspired to speak about sacred geometry. And there is also a verse, and it shall come to pass that as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son be lifted up. What happened to a serpent that Moses lifted?
Tell me the scripture you're reading, write it down.
It's chapter 17, Vivus chapter 17, verse 34.
Let me take a look.
I just don't know what happened with Moses and the serpent.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay. I have no idea. I'll have to find out myself.
Yeah, because when we learned about Moses and everything, and in the Old Testament, there is a serpent that Moses resurrected, and upon his caduceus staff, it is when the same symbol today's pharmaceutic and healers use. I believe this is the same snake, but what actually did happen?
Okay,
There is no
Sky reminds me, I'll find out. Get
Thank
back.
you.
And I will remind him.
Any other questions?
If you
brothers and
remind
sisters?
me.
Yeah, I'll remind her so she can remind him.
Okay, good, works good. We're indispensable with each other, so. All right, well then we'll say goodbye until next week. Right, yeah, we have one more meeting and then we're gonna skip the
July 3rd.
first week of July meeting. All right, so we'll have another one next week, will be priesthood meeting, so we'll see you all then. Have a wonderful wonderful week.
Namaste.
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 Love and light, family.